Good morning, everyone online. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. 2025. And at the end of the month, we start the new year of the year of the snake, the year of the wood snake. So snakes are associated with wisdom, renewal, because they shed their skin, introspection, transformation, and the wood snake in particular is associated with creativity. So I think this coming year, wisdom, renewal, introspection, transformation, and creativity are going to be really important, don't you think? Yeah. So it's also a good time for us to hear the voice of Dogen Senji, Eihei Dogen, the founder of our Soto Zen school. In particular, I'm thinking of one short phrase: learn the backward step and turn the light inward and illuminate the self. Okay. Learn the backward step, turn the light inward and illuminate the self. In Japanese, this is Eko Hensho, Eko Hensho. And this is a fundamental, foundational aspect of our practice, our Zazen and our everyday lives, to turn the light inward and illuminate the self. So one thing we say is, wait a minute, didn't I hear that there was no self in Buddhism? So what is the self we're illuminating? So first off, I want to say, and you've heard me say this over and over again, there is a self. There is a self. Don't forget that. There is a self. You are a particular shape and construct. You are real. You are there. And you're not permanent. You lack what we call inherent existence. You are the dynamic flow of everything. Okay, so you have to hold both of those things at the same time. We can ask, what is this light? And we can say it's a way to point to the illumination that comes forth when we attend to ourselves and our lives and our world in a particular way. Light is warmth. Light is life. With light, we can see, at least within the range of the light and our capacity to see, right? What do we do when we turn the light inward? We can say we see our thoughts, our emotions, like we turn the light inward, we turn our consciousness, our awareness inward, and we can see our thoughts, our emotions, our bodily sensations. That's a really good way to think of it, but it's not enough. It doesn't recognize the intimacy that we share with other beings, all other beings. The ways our so-called inner world is never apart from the relational web that is our reality. Even all that leaves us only halfway in exploring the mystery of our lives and our world. There's always more than we can see. And we can ask, who turns the light inward? Who sees? That's kind of like trying to ask us to look behind our own eyeballs. You know, have you ever tried that? Just stop for a moment. Try and look behind your own eyeballs. It doesn't work, does it? But there's something else, some capacity that we have that allows us to know, even if we can't see behind our own eyeballs. So there's no fixed answer to this question of who sees, who turns the light. We can say the capacity to turn the light inward is a calling inside of us, a yearning to see clearly, to be connected, to be alive. We want that. And so we take the leap of turning the light inward. But there's no fixed answer to the question of who. When we become comfortable with that, we undo our habits of assuming who we are and what life is. We undo the habit of placing ourselves at the center of the universe and come home to a ground that does not depend on that, doesn't depend on divisions, doesn't depend on fixed definitions. And then we can join with others fully. We are a particular self. We have a shape, a geography, a history, and that self is illuminated by the light. We see and feel and know ourselves to be interwoven with what we see. We know that even the light has limits. There is always something beyond what we can see. That's a part of the whole as well. So we look, we see, we entrust ourselves to that process, and we come alive. When we open our minds and hearts and catch a glimpse of the whole world, our little pin light of the self, those, anybody ever given you a pen that has a light on the end, or like you have a keychain that has a little light that's just enough to see the keyhole? That's kind of where we live a lot of the times, this little pin light like this, But when we turn the light inward, when we do this practice of allowing sight, allowing light, this view broadens. Our little pin light broadens and deepens, and we catch glimpses of something that's beyond this. We can't see the source of the light, but we can see by it. We can see our lives, our minds, our hearts, and each other. And we can see what's real in this moment. So there's a story that I really like that tells something about this. So, okay, if I tell you a story. Okay, so there is a young person who goes to find the wisest rabbi that they know and requests to learn from them. The rabbi is dubious whether this young person is ready for this particular kind of study and depth of study. And so they offer them a problem to solve. Two people fell down a chimney. One emerged with their face covered in soot, and the other emerged clean. Which one washes their face? Okay, that's the question. That's the problem posed. So the obvious answer, and the one the young person seeking to study gives first, is, well, obviously it's the person with the dirty face. That's wrong, because how could they know their face is dirty? They see their companion has a clean face. They assume their own face is clean. Then the person with the clean face So they say, okay, the person with the clean face, because they see the person with the dirty face and they think, oh, my face must be dirty too. So they go wash their face. That's not correct either. Then the rabbi repeats the question again. And the answer is, once the person with the dirty face, seeing their companion wash their face, assumes their own face to be dirty and goes to wash it. And then the person with the dirty face sees their friend with the clean face washing, and they say, oh, maybe my face is dirty too. And they wash their face. That's not correct either. Really? The rabbi says that answer is no better than any of the others. Why? Because no one can fall down a chimney and emerge with a clean face. This story teaches us something important about turning the light inward and illuminating the self. The light which illuminates our lives is the light of shared life, not one of simply personal introspection. So the first answer is incorrect because it's based on an incorrect view of humanity. That is, I can know myself just by myself in isolation. I can see clearly myself out of relationship. That's not an accurate description of our condition. It's an incomplete view because it cuts us off from the wisdom available in relationship. It can also lead to arrogance and judgment. The second answer is closer to our actual state of our lives. It deepens our practice. You see a dirty face. You say, oh, this is not an opportunity to judge. It's an opportunity to say, oh, maybe my face is dirty. I better go clean my face. This is a mirror, right? This is a relationship. And their companion also doesn't just seek an interior. You say, oh, I see my friend washing their face. You know what? If their face, they look like they have a clean face, but they're washing their face. Well, if I assume my face is clean, maybe I better wash my face too. So then everybody's washing their face. Everybody's attending. They take a cue. We take a cue from our friends. We assume that we are also subject to the dirt and grime of the world. It's just simple, right? Not a big deal. We just wash our face. And yet we're told that even this answer is no better than the previous ones. Because no one could ever come out of a chimney without a dirty face. So the whole question, the whole series of questions is kind of preposterous in a way. Right? So this final answer cracks open the whole thing. It reminds us not to worry about clean or dirty faces because we're all human. And yet, we know that because we're human and because we fall down chimneys, we just need to wash our face. From the perspective of our tradition, Soto Zen tradition, I would add that as we practice in this way, we come to see and know firsthand our original face, the face of Buddha, the face of all beings, whatever state we're in. Eko Hensho, the backward step that illuminates the self, the whole self, our particularity, the fullness of our humanity, allows us to participate in this dynamic mystery, the depth of our true nature. No exceptions, everyone included. This included is wise and clear and kind and takes into account our human needs and functions in the world that we have. This is our practice of Zazen and our everyday life. Sojin Roshi, our teacher, said, Zazen brings forth in us a steady light that isn't subject to the ups and downs associated with grasping and aversion, craving and excitement. The light illuminates our direction so that we know which way to take the next step. Okay. These folks who fell down the chimney were illuminated enough to see, oh, wash my face. That's simple. So we see clearly by the light of the Buddha way, we include everything and everyone. Our intention is to wake up with all beings and to support ourselves and one another to do that. So we sit down. We sit with the knowledge that the light of the Buddha way is always present. And with this light, we can see all the dimensions of ourselves with compassionate wisdom. We can see others with compassionate wisdom. And when you can't see others in this way, you rely on the compassionate wisdom to aspire to be able to see that way, right? So all of us are like, that one? Yeah, I don't know about that one. But our intention is to be able to see clearly. So when we do this, we settle into the mystery and depth of our being, our vastness, the mountain of settledness that includes everything. This is a profound stillness that is our home, even when you don't feel it. So this is the practice of our Zazen. We sit down, we pay attention, we entrust ourselves to this moment after moment after moment after moment. It's really simple. And then when you get up, you're not entered a different world. The light of the Buddha way is still there. The ground of stillness is still there. It's simple in a way. Just do what is in front of you with this spirit, and the world comes alive in a new way. By this light, you know what the next step is. You might be a tiny baby step, you like when you have to go to the bathroom in the night and you get up and it's dark and you're like, I know this room, but I still don't walk head on because I might walk into my dresser instead of the door, right? So sometimes baby steps in the dark, sometimes we can stride along, but by the light of the Buddha way and in this spirit, we can walk. We can know what the next step is. And when we fall down, we use the ground to get up, the ground of your being to get up, the ground of this moment to get up, and then we take the next step. There's always challenges. We always fall down chimneys, but we can companion each other, right? We can companion each other. We can honor each other. No assumptions, with a spirit of openness and curiosity about what works, sitting and walking, acting side by side in this life. So our practice is to bring this spirit and this illumination to our lives. I think it's well worth considering, especially now. And it's funny, every day is a new year, right? But we have these times that we mark. different traditions mark them at different times, but right now in this calendar that we use, we call this the new year. And it's a time to reflect and say, okay, what's important? I'm not so hot on resolutions, they seem kind of like a waste of time, but we can reconnect with our intention. Here in the Zendo, we sit Zazen together, including everyone on Zoom. You're here too. We take up other practice opportunities we have here, and we create more of them. And when we step out into the world, we're guided by the same light, each in our own way, companions with all beings. So I want to encourage all of us to consider this illuminating light and how we might wash our face together. Thank you. Questions?